Welcome back everyone, let's get straight into it. Today I am going to go out on my training run with a new pair of shoes. These are the Brooks Cascadia 16. I must say, Sports Shoes have been very kind and sent them to me to kind of raise a bit of awareness about the shoe. I'm under no obligation to give a good review or say anything about the shoe or even put this YouTube video out there. But I thought, along with my kind of training diary and advice there, I can give you an insight into the new bits of kit that I pick up. As always, I'm going to stick the stuff that I find a bit more boring, the specifics of the shoe, in the description so you can catch them there or on the Brooks or the Sports Shoes website. So I'm going to take them out for my run in a minute, but let's just talk about first impressions. Now, I'm a size UK 9. They come in at just under 300 grams in a men's. It seems really well made and put together. Bit of width there, maybe a bit narrow through that part of the shoe, through the midfoot. Brooks are calling it a ballistic rock shield, so there should be some good protection there. Some drainage, which I'll be able to check out in the North Wales hills. Good wide grips in my kind of experience. You can see I haven't ran in them at all, but in my experience, good wide grips will be good. They'll be good in the mud, they'll hook in nicely. Whether they stick to any kind of wet rock, probably not. But yeah, I'll avoid that anyway. Good level of cushioning. The lacing and the tongue and the kind of heel cup, for me, maybe a bit behind the times, but at the price point, it's okay, I guess. So I'll take them out for a run now, give you a bit of an update on how they feel on the first run in the first few miles, what kind of terrain I'm taking them on. Obviously, that's not going to be too in-depth, so my plan with all these little kind of kit updates will be to keep you updated as my training moves along. Did I keep wearing them? Do I relegate them to just recovery runs? Or have I donated them to a friend? I will tell you everything. So let's get into it. The Brooks Cascadia 16. For those of you that have got kind of eagle eyes on the continuity, you'll realise, well, one, I'm dressed different, I've had a shave, and the trainers themselves a lot muddier than I just showed you. That's because first run I went out with them to kind of give you a bit of an update. I forgot to put the memory card in. Second run was biblical weather, like a lot of you will have had in the UK, plus the fact that I couldn't really make my mind up on the shoes, not from the first run, not from the second run, not from the third run. We are now heading up out the valley for my fourth run in them. So I felt like I needed that just to give you a bit of an accurate bit of advice on them. We'll be on the running trails or the national trails, kind of this kind of stuff. So when you first put a shoe on, the first thing you'll notice is the fit, usually. And for me, never having worn a Brooks before, it was quite interesting. I can't compare it to anything in the past, which is probably a good thing with Brooks. What I found is the front of the shoe, plenty of room for me, and I like a wider fitting shoe. Across the middle, across the laces, did feel a little bit snug, a little bit tighter, but manageable. Loosen off the laces and that was fine. And on by the third run it had give a little bit in that area. Where the fit let me down right out the box was in the heel cup. I just couldn't find a lacing solution or indeed a movement solution that would allow my heel to stay put. So you could probably say that that is down to foot shape, and everyone will have a different experience there, I imagine. So I can say with confidence that they'll do you really well as for grip on that kind of trail. There's not much kind of movement or sliding around going up, and I've ran at a decent pace coming down too. Like I say, outside of the slipping in the heel, I felt pretty confident. I've hit a few rocks, underneath as well, so there's a good bit of protection underneath, stuff like this. So I've gone over those, no problem at all. There's a good protection underneath, and also on your big toes and little toes. So I've whacked a few rocks as well on the different runs, and they do give a really good level of protection, I think. What I did notice is running uphill like this, and there is, although you probably can't see it too much, good level of gradient around here. Going uphill does give you like a level of stiffness in the shoe, in the sole, that allows you to kind of push off quite well. So if you're someone that likes to push up the hills, I quite enjoyed going uphill in them. The trade-off for that kind of extra bit of nudge and the stiffness propelling you forward, or the protection and the weight, does mean that you don't really feel the ground as much. You miss out on a level of proprioception, and for me that's what I enjoy. I enjoy feeling the trails and yeah, getting that feedback. So that comes down to personal choice really. So here is a good twistability test. It does bend at the big toe joint there for that toe off. This is how I like to see how much movement is in this shoe. Now granted, these noodle arms aren't giving out the best force in the world, but yeah, in a kind of nice flexible shoe you'd be able to see that a lot better. So that is the stiffness for you, but you can see, like I say, good drainage through there. I've ran through some pretty good swampy bits and it does drain quite quick. Nice bit of protection through there. So yeah, you can't fault it on that. Through the front, like I say, I've kicked plenty of rocks and haven't really felt too much discomfort there. Where can they improve? Well, for me, starting with the heel, I know I keep saying I've got movement there, you might feel differently, but for £120, which they are in the UK, you can kind of get ones that fit a lot better, like a sock-like fit. There's too much going on. There's no give at all here, which is probably part of the reason why my heel slips out quite a lot, but again, that's kind of down to foot shape. So maybe you guys can let me know in the comments how this compares to old Brooks. I've never had a pair of Brooks, never had Brooks trail shoes. Is this a step in the right direction? If it continues to improve, I think it can be a good shoe for certain people, not for everyone. So yeah, now you can see I've stepped off kind of the hard packed trails and I'm on single track. You'd call it wet grass, I guess. So it's not technical at all. Some kind of wet bits, lots of grassy parts, can be quite slippy, and they've stood up pretty well when I've been running on these. Granted, it's flat, like I say, nothing kind of, no wet rock or anything like that. But yeah, you can clip along quite easily and be confident that they're not gonna slip and slide all over the place. Unfortunately, one thing that I do have to point out is when you go from that kind of wet grass or the hard packed trail to any kind of real mud, I was slipping quite a bit. First of all, I noticed it on the uphill, where you know where your foot would kind of slip away from you on the push off. That can be quite annoying. When you run on the flat mud, they seem to deal with it quite well, but any kind of twists and turns, you do feel, well, I felt anyway, my foot slipping from side to side, which just doesn't give you the confidence and you have to ease off, that kind of thing. So that's maybe one area that they can improve on. I guess the last point I have to make is related to the fact that I had to go out in them a couple of times just to check, is that now I've been running 70 minutes now, off and on, doing this video, and my feet just ache after anything over an hour, and I can't really put my finger on it or my toes on it, but sorry, that's such a crap joke and I can't. I need to stop laughing at my old jokes on YouTube. So yeah, what I was saying is that they feel like they're an easy running shoe, but then maybe it's the stiffness and the fact that there isn't any give at all in the shoe, really, that it's just causing my feet to ache. So who are they for? I would say if you like Brooks the brand and you know that they fit you, then there's a high chance that they're going to fit you probably a little bit better than me. If you don't mind that level of stiffness in the shoe, or that's something you enjoy, then again, definitely for you. Good enough grip for light trail, hard packed and wet grass. They performed pretty well on. The mud, unfortunately, not too well. So I don't know if they're looking to push into that kind of terrain. Again, I can only go off my own experience. If you like the level of protection that the rock plate will give you, and definitely around the front, it's going to protect your little toes, yeah, that's going to do pretty well for you. And that's kind of it really. Good, solid, all-rounder for anything up to an hour, and then my feet start to ache and slip around a little bit in the mud. So you can draw your own conclusions and maybe have a go and let me know below yourselves. But again, I'm very lucky. Sports Shoes sent me these shoes to try on and spread the word and kind of put them out there because they are a new shoe, and I'm extremely thankful that people like Sports Shoes will send me this kind of stuff. Hopefully you can agree that I'm pretty honest with my reviews, so whether companies continue to send me them, I don't know, but that's kind of a bonus. Every kind of shoe I buy from now on, I'll be letting you know about. So on to the next one. Enjoy your week, everyone.